in the devotion hall. Thank you. Sairam, let's start our study circle with 3 ohms. Let me just. Oh. Dear Swami, we are so grateful to be able to meet here together in your presence today. While we are here together studying your word in your Bhagavata Vahini, we ask that you open our ears and hearts to whatever it is you want us to learn. Please speak through each one of us and help us progress in our spiritual journey. Jai Sai Ram. Sai Ram, everyone. I hope it can be heard online. I'm not sure. So if someone is logging in, please give us a thumbs up. All right. So with that, we'll just move on. Reminder to mute your cell phones. Let's discuss today's topics and continue with our discussion for Bhagavad Vahini. Last session was 2 weeks ago, and we had a break for Thanksgiving. And I hope everyone remembered to thank Swami in that process, because I think that is a great holiday to show our gratitude and remember not only our family and friends, but also the divine that has helped us to have a good meal and have and develop this family and friends throughout our journey in life. So with that, I am going to just talk about last session. So last session we talked, we were still on chapter 13. We talked about surrendering, not surrendering per se, but we talked about having faith in Sai. We did discuss a letter that Swami had written to a devotee on taking refuge in Sai. And with that, we discussed multiple things, basically around Namasmarana, teaching how can we teach our mind to be calm, so that sai can come in, sai or any form that you actually believe in, or ishta devata, as I would call it, as your favorite form of divinity. We also discussed about unity of thought, word, and action. We talked about that now that taking the name gives different flavors to the phases of divinity. I thought that was really interesting. And then moved along to talk about ego and how and the role it plays in Namasmarana. We did discuss the type of bhakti that we have, most of us asking for things versus just praying because it is the divine. And then we talked about having faith in is one thing, but also to follow the word and have unity of thought, word, and action. We also discussed, actually ended with offering your action to God, or offering your action to divine as our final line. And I think that was really well put at the end of the session 2 weeks ago. I know it's been a long week before we discuss this. So if there is anything that anyone would like to add, definitely this is a great place to be.
Sairam, I was just reminded of asking Swami or asking the divinity for things, for material. So Swami has put it very this one. So you go and Swami asks, "What do you want?" And then we ask for eclairs chocolate.
Yeah.
So that's what we are doing. So we just ask for, oh, I want this, I want that. And so all material things. So when he is prepared to give the anything, so we ask for just petty things.
Yeah. So he always says, I am ready to give you the kalpatru.
Yeah.
You actually ask me for coffee powder.
Yeah.
That's what he typically says. Yes, absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. All right. So today we will listen to chapter 14, and then we'll continue our discussion and take it from there. So with that,
Vahini, Chapter 14, The Exit of Pandavas. It was a pitiable sight. Parikshit, the little boy with the crown on his head, tentatively approached his grandfather and others, and holding their feet fast, he prayed that he too might accompany them to the forests. He would gladly eat roots and fruits, engage himself in sacred ceremonials, and be happy. Please entrust the kingdom to some virtuous minister and allow me to come with you, so that I might serve you and make my life worthwhile. He pleaded. Those around him in the hall were moved to tears by his agony and being left behind. Rocks would have melted in sympathy had they listened to his anguish. Dharmaraja managed heroically to suppress his emotions. He lifted the boy and placed him on his lap. He poured consolation and courage into his ear. Dear child, don't become so weak-minded. You are a child born in the dynasty of Bharata. Can a sheep be born in a dynasty of lions? Your father, mother, and grandfathers are full of courage, old champions of truth who make their names famous in the world. So, it is not fit that you should weakness. And both these Brahmins are your grandfathers, your parents. Take their advice and rule this land accordingly. Live up to the grandeur and glory of the name. Stop grieving over us. But the boy was lovingly adamant, in spite of all the persuasive advice of the elders. He lamented, Grandpa, I am too young to convince you with my pleading. I know it. But listen, I lost my father even before I was born. You brought me up with the care and affection that my father would have showered upon me had he lived. And now, when I love to sing and play, roam about with my companions, you hoist on my head this great empire? Can this be right? Is this justice? Instead of leaving me alone, steeped in sorrow, you could live after severing my head with your sword. Alas, what harm have I done to you that you should punish me thus? Could you not have scorched me in my mother's womb on the day my father died? Was my lifeless body resuscitated in order that you may inflict this assignment on me? Parikshit continued to condemn himself for his fate in this strain for long. Arjuna couldn't stand it any longer. He covered the boy's mouth with his palm. He caressed the child with sweet affection. He pressed his lips on his head. Child, it is disgrace to the Kshatriya clan that you should behave like a coward. We too lost our father. We too grew up under the fostering care of ascetics and monks. At last, we were able to win the affection of our uncle, and after overcoming many a formidable handicap, we established our sovereignty over this kingdom. He who guided us, and directed our steps throughout will certainly be your guardian and guide. Don't lose heart. Follow the advice which these Brahmins and ministers will render for some years. Later, you will be able to solve the problems of empire yourself. Parikshit could not be assuaged. He said, Grandpa, are you now discarding the throne and kingdom and placing them on my head? Well, be with me for some years more. Teach me the art of government and the principles, and then you can leave. I was happy and free, romping and roaming with no trace of care, for I was confident I had grandfathers to guide me, though I had lost my father. Now, if you too desert me, what will be my fate? You were the center of all my hopes, the support on which I relied, and you are plunging me suddenly into despair and deserting me. He wept aloud, rending the hearts of all who saw and heard. He rolled on the ground, holding the feet of the elders. Arjuna lifted him up with both his hands and embraced him. He kept him on his shoulders and fondled him. He wiped the strings of pearly tears that rolled down his cheeks. He couldn't arrest his own tears while doing so. Turning to the Brahmins standing around, gazing at all this, Arjuna asked them why they were only silent witnesses, not attempting to console the boy. They were really too full of grief themselves to think of consoling Parikshit. They said, the sharp words this child is lisping are wounding us like arrows. His anguish is petrifying us. What can we tell him? How can we console him? What can instill courage into him now? They too were overcome with grief. Kripacharya, the teacher of the family, succeeded at last in suppressing his grief. He wiped off tears from his own eyes with the ends of his garment. He spoke to Arjuna thus, what do you want us to tell this boy? We do not feel like saying anything. We are struck dumb. You are this day renouncing the empire which you gained after victory, for which rivers of blood flowed, for which millions laid down their lives, for which you strove for years. You have not ruled over it for 1,000 years, no, not even for a couple of centuries, or even for 70 years. Who can say what lies in the womb of time? Of course, the actions of the great will have some inner purpose. Pardon us. You are our lords. You know the best. Kripacharya stood with head bent, for he was heavy with grief. Dharmaraja came forward a few steps and addressed the Acharya. Every act of mine was according to the command of Krishna. As you know, I dedicated all my activity to him. I played my role as he dictated. I did not desire or retain any individuality. All my duties and obligations have faded out with departure of the Lord. Of what use is the survival of Dharmaraja alone now? I cannot continue on this land even for a minute, since Kali has come to sway. It is your duty now to guard this boy, guide and train him so that he may be secure on the throne. Preserve the adherence to Dharma, continue the dynastic traditions, maintain the honor and fair name of the line. O Acharya, love him and foster as your own son. Thus saying, he placed the hands of Parikshit in the hands of Kripacharya. All those who were there, including Dharmaraja and the Acharya, were in tears that moment. In a few minutes, Vajra was called in. He was informed that from that very day, the emperor of Bharat was Parikshit. So Vajra paid homage to him as befits the suzerain of the continent. The ministers and Brahmins too honored him as a ruler with due ceremony. Afterwards, Dharmaraja held the hands of Parikshit and placing them on the hands of Vajra, he announced, "This is Vajra, the lord of the Adavas. I now install him as the king of Mathura and of the Surasena state." He placed on Vajra's head a diamond-studded golden crown. "Be brothers, both of you, staunch allies in peace and war, inseparable in friendship," he exhorted. He called Vajra aside and advised him to treat Parikshit as his own paternal uncle. He advised Parikshit to revere Vajra as he would revere Aniruddha himself. He told both of them that they ought to ensure the continuance of dharma unimpaired and to consider the welfare of their subjects as the very breath of life. Then the Pandava brothers showered auspicious rice grains on the heads of both Vajra and Parikshit. The Brahmin priests recited appropriate mantras, trumpets blared, and drums were beaten. With tears in their eyes, Vajra and Parikshit prostrated before Dharmaraja and the rest. The Pandava brothers could not look the two dear darlings in the face. They were so overcome with detachment. They just held them in one quick embrace and spoke just one word of loving farewell before they filed out into the beyond with nothing on except the clothes they wore. At this, the kings and king, the citizens, the queens and others in the zenana, the courtiers and the maids, all raised pathetic wails. The citizens fell across the path of the ruler and tried to hold fast to his feet. They prayed piteously that he should stay. They appealed to them to take them also with them. Some brushed aside objections and ran along with the royal party. The Pandavas, however, never turned back. They never spoke a word. Their ears were close to entreaties. Their minds were fixed on Krishna. For the rest, they moved straight on like men blinded by a fanatic resolve, heeding none, observing none. Draupadi, with her maids, came running behind them, calling on her lords one by one separately by name. Parikshit too pursued them along the streets, but he was caught and carried away by the ministers who tried to pacify him, though they were themselves greatly affected. But the Pandavas walked unconcerned, neither asking those who followed to stop, nor permitting those who decided to join to come along. Hundreds of men and women had to stop when they were too tired and they mournfully returned to the capital. Others who were hardier kept on. The women of the Zenana, unused to sun and winds, were exhausted quickly and they fell fainting on the road. Maids, lamenting the terrible events, brought relief to them. Some ventured even into the forest, but had to return fast after encountering the horrors of the wilderness. When dust storms rose, many citizens placed the dust reverentially on their foreheads, taking it to be the dust of the feet of Dharmaraja. Thus, passing through bush and briar, the brothers soon got out of sight. What then could the people do? They returned to Hastinapura, heavy with unbearable grief. The Pandavas stuck to the vow of Mahaprasthanam. That vow required that they should not eat or drink anything on the way. They should not rest. They must proceed straight on in the northern direction until they fell dead. This is the vow they observed, so grim and
Okay, Sairam, I don't know why it didn't read the rest. So let me just finish this. The Pandavas journeyed along with their eyes fixed straight ahead, awaiting the moment when their bodies would collapse out of sheer exhaustion and death would finally finish their earthly career. Their hearts were filled with emotion centering around Krishna, his play and pranks, his grace and glory. They had no room for any other emotion or thought. Draupadi, their queen, dragged herself along for a considerable distance, but she became too weak to continue. Her lords didn't turn back even when she appealed. Highly intelligent and devoted as she was, she realized that they were engaged in a terrific, uncompromising vow. She decided that the bond that tagged her to them so long had loosened and she had to meet her end. She fainted, fell, and breathed her last, with her mind fixed on Krishna. The Pandavas walked on in staunch discipline and met their separate ends at the times and places in which each had to shed their body. The body became dust, but the soul merged in Krishna. They attained immortality, losing themselves in the immortal essence of Krishna. Sairam, this is chapter 14, and the whole outlook is pretty intense, emotionally intense, and I think a few topics that actually came to my mind while reading this is basically having the faith in divine will. They had the faith in His divine will. They had detachment and renunciation, leadership and dharma, and of course unity of thought, word, and action, where they, all brothers, acted as per what was the right thing to do at the right time, and were in sync um, with Krishna's divine leadership that they had experienced throughout their life. That's my take. Does anyone have anything to add? Because we will move in, and these are the topics that we are focusing for discussion. Please take the mic.
The story itself is very, very, confusing to me in the sense that when Kripacharya asked those Pandavas that we fought for so long, many people died. For what? To take on from there, but the Pandavas did not follow that. Rather, they chose to go and merge with Krishna, which is okay. But how it is justified? That is my question.
Does anyone have an answer?
I think somewhere I don't think the time frame is so immediate after the
No,
war.
but to his point, it wasn't that long after
That
they.
not that
So
long.
it wasn't 70 years even,
Hmm.
right? They ruled very less. In fact, I think Parikshit was just 12, right? So basically they just ruled for 12 years because she was pregnant when Abhimanyu passed. So about 12 to 15 years is all that they ruled. And what he is saying makes, yes, that is correct, that it was not set up yet. It's a very new establishment and they are leaving. That's what he's trying to say. But at the same time, um, first off, I don't think Pandavas were in that frame of mind. I think it was more about Krishna. They felt they were reflections of the divine, and I feel once that has passed, their time has ended. That's at least my thing.
See, from what I can see, even here, Dharmaraja mentions that the war, that war was not a result of the Pandavas' desire to rule over the kingdom. So it is on the basis of instructions from Krishna. They were just following Krishna's word.
Correct.
So the whole reason for the war was not for them to rule, but for establishing dharma. That was the only reason why they fought the war. And they gained that kingdom. They had to rule once they gained the kingdom, but it was never in their intention to rule. It is not their desire to rule. So it was just because it was entrusted to them by Krishna, Lord Krishna, and which they firmly believed. They firmly believed that Krishna's word is what they have to follow. So they followed it. And even now, when Krishna leaves his mortal physical presence, um, I think they again are following the same footsteps that Krishna has instructed. So the whole thing, if we see, I think it is all following Krishna's word to the T. Not even one iota of desire from their personal
Once
standpoint.
Krishna is gone, I think they, yeah.
So, Sairam, I agree with Venkaji because the whole why is a very crucial thing. The intention with for which you're doing it, that rules everything, right? Because if your intention is a selfish desire to rule some, you'll never give it up. You will hang on to it till the end because that is driven from a selfish standpoint. This is nothing to do with it. It was purely for dharma that they fought the war and they don't care for it. So that's why it's so easy for them to give it up too, because their goals are set much higher. I feel the same way.
Yeah, so that exactly is the point. That's why they have raised this point. That's why they have raised this point. Kripacharya is asking this question to frame up, to raise this question in our minds. That why this happened. Why, after fighting so long, you are giving it up so quickly? That is the whole idea. That's the story is made like that and it's presented in that manner on purpose. He's putting this question on purpose for that we raise this question why this happened, and then the answer we look for is that they were willing to take five villages only. Look at the initial intention.
Yes.
They were willing to take just five villages only. So war was never an intention. Number one. Number two, the purpose was, as Venkaji mentioned, establish dharma. Once dharma is established, who is you and who is me? We don't, our role is kind of gone after that. Once that is established, now we are old anyways. Look at the age of these guys. Look at the age of these guys. Finally, they have to give it. And look at the age of Kripacharya, who was even elder to to all these people. So they had to, finally they have to leave kindly. So Krishna is of the same age. They were kind of cousins. So they were of the same age group. Krishna left. Now it was the time for them to leave anyways. So they have to give the kingdom to someone, and and they are grandfathers. They're not like the grandfathers of Parikshit now.
Right. And that's a great question though. So that is the essence of this whole. Yeah. So yes.
So,
Yeah, please.
coming to this, relating it to our day-to-day life, um, this is an example. If we have to follow, so the whole thing, as Swami says, we are all like cashiers in a bank. We may be handling some millions of rupees in daily, but as a cashier, none of it belongs to us. So in the whole life, we have to handle everything that we have with that in mind. Just like how the Pandavas handled their kingdom, it was just given to them as a trust. So it was easy for them. When you consider that way, it is easy for them to entrust it to somebody and then move on. They never considered that kingdom as theirs. So I think we are also have to think in those lines instead of thinking that, oh, this is my house, this is my car, this is my this one. All these are just given to us as a temporary thing, but it is given to us. We cannot just like that be frivolous and be not taking care of it. It is interest, just like how the cashier has to handle that cash with care. He cannot afford to miss even 1 rupee there. So we have to handle that carefully, but at the same time with the notion that it doesn't belong to us.
Yeah, makes
So here, the thought that crossed me is, how can we apply it to our life? When I was thinking about that, I was thinking what Parikshit said is true too. I'm only 12 years old. You have to guide me. You have to be there. And so if I'm put in that position, and usually it happens that when somebody else says something, I'm like, yeah, that is true too. So there is truth or there is value to what the other person is also saying. And Swami says that you should never leave aside your work and just go out, right? Because that is your dharma, is to do that work. So having said that, how that clarity for them, I'm going to call it as clarity, because for some people may say that's not the clarity, that is them being very selfish as to going out. But for me, having that clarity that everything will be okay, I need to leave this child, 12-year-old, with someone else and not direct them and just go and kind of disregard my body or leave my body. That is something. How do they get the clarity? Because everyday life, forget about this big things, small things also. When somebody says something, you say something, for example, even the house discussion, I'm like, yeah, that is true too. This is true too.
Yeah.
So how do we come to that? How do we have the clarity of taking the right decision then?
Yeah, so that's what it is, right? So what stops us? They had complete faith in Krishna, right? What is stopping us from having that kind of faith in divine will? So they tell Parikshit, the same divinity that guided us will guide you. That is still there. That is how much they have that faith. Again,
Oh, who's watching the little birds, little animals? I mean, that's the faith again,
that
right?
is, yeah.
God, it's already said in many, many texts, right? Who takes care of all these things will take care of this
If it is
12-year-old
the
you.
right action, if it is the right action for them, that's why Parikshit was also divine. I mean, who goes in and says, oh, listen, let me think about God, I only have a week. Yeah, but he was grown up, he grew up well, is what I'm saying. Just because he didn't have his grandparents didn't make him uh,
That is because when I every day to day life, when I'm doing something, I'm like, that is true too, this is true too. So it is a very gray area of what is right and what is wrong. Not wrong also, what is the absolute right, because nothing is wrong, right? So how do we get that clarity? So that sadhana is still left, I think, on my behalf. So
See, I think in this case, they were highly convinced that this is what they need to do. Now, how strong they felt in spite of Kripacharya raising that question, not advising, but raising that question as to what I feel that Parikshit is asking the right question. But in spite of saying that, they were very, very convinced that now that Lord Krishna has left his body, we also have to go. That is there. They were very clear on that. So no other comment or any other like Parikshit's this one they could distract them. But in the day-to-day life, it may not be that situation. So somebody says and then the other person says something different, then maybe you can give equal value. It depends on the
so
topic, I think.
yeah, so I went through the same thought process in my head. So and I have I mean, throughout the past 2 weeks I've had various through videos or whatever, it's just come to me. But if we step out of this, what are the challenges that stops us from having that kind of faith? Like, the confusion is because we don't have that faith in right action. We don't know what is the right action. That is the confusion that we have. What is the right action? But there, that confusion is not there. He's Dharmaraja. He is the one who knows what the right action is for his role at that point. So I think that confusion, first thing, is not there. And because that confusion is not there, I think they don't have the fear of doing the wrong thing. We do have that fear all the time. Am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? So that's why I kind of was thinking, okay, what are the internal factors that will hinder our ability to have this faith, right? If you have faith in the divine will, you have faith in dharma, because you will know. That's why when Swami was there, many people say, he would guide us. So we didn't have to think too much. Yeah, as long as but did everyone do what he said? Did everyone follow?
Yes,
Yeah.
we want to go to the previous slide. The
Yes.
last point was so touching. Unity of thought, word, and action. I had the message last week. Like,
Yes.
So yeah, so like we are the only one. I mean, human beings who try to show the the better part of us, who try to show what we are not actually. No other animal, no other species does that. We are the ones who always try to show little above what we are, what we actually are. And why do we even think of showing? That's
Yeah.
so why the birds, animals don't have the ego? Are they better species than us? Are they better species than us? That see, birds are chirping. They are making this beautiful sounds, and tigers are running. They are all doing natural things. We are
No,
doing
no,
it.
no, no. Animals also have emotions and they have that ego. No, no, no. Ego is the jealousy, anger that comes, but because it is my body, right? That ego comes. The ego doesn't show up, project to us like that. Like I had a parrot, and I one day I took a green mug, and then it came running. It was squawking, and it was so angry. And then I was like, "What happened?" It came and started pecking at that thing. So it had that ego that, hey, I am the parrot. I'm the green color. That is not supposed to be here, right? So they have it. What I'm saying is, we all have the as a soul born in whatever form, we all have the ego. Only thing is, we are able to verbalize it. They are unable to verbalize it.
Point
I
I'm
So
trying to
agree.
make is the point I'm trying to make is why can't I be as simple as I was when I was in 12th grade? I mean, I have complicated myself trying to show more, better, more of myself, which we are not. We are always trying to decorate us. I'm coloring my hair. Why? Why I'm coloring my hair? Why I'm, trying to project a better image that I'm not that old? Why should I be doing that? Why do we worry about so many of bodily things, the physical appearance, and even showing my intellect? Why do I have to show my intellect? That's that is the problem of our sufferings also. Kind of.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rakhi. I know you were good.
Yeah. Like when we talk about clarity, like clarity, it's clear because if a person has to take an action, you don't think if it's a right action or it's a wrong action. First, you perform that action with your clarity, with your thought, what you believe, and you perform the action. That action maybe leads to, like for example, we don't know if it's a right action or wrong action, but you need to go with what your beliefs are. You think one thing, you do something, and you reflect something. So that itself is shady. So our actions reflect, the reflection of our action decides what we did. But if we think in wrong, like sometimes you perform the action actually, then you go back and see if your action is right or wrong without an ego perspective.
So when the action is happening, you're saying it cannot be judged as right or wrong. It is
Yeah.
future that judges.
That the future,
the time judges.
The time judges.
I want to add what Rakhi is saying. The point that's why the satsang is important. That's
Yeah.
why the books are our
Yeah.
gurus are important. That's why we are sitting here today, because that becomes your instinct.
Yeah.
That becomes your instinct to do the right thing only. So you don't have to think, right or wrong, right or right or right. Don't be. It becomes an instinct. Spontaneously, it will happen. The right thing will happen only from you only. That's why all these readings, all this literature, all this exercise is there. That's what we are doing all that.
I know that's for only a few people, right? A lot of people do wrong actions, intentionally do wrong actions all the time. Oh, you see it
Yes.
day in, day out, day in, day out. It's very selfish actions. You see it. And then the people who are doing the right actions who don't get the results get discouraged.
No, but
Because they're no, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
yeah, you're the person who's doing it sometimes knows it's wrong and does it, and sometimes doesn't know and does it anyway. And then what I'm saying is it's not always based on the thought. The thought clarity comes only when you make that connection to the Lord. That's when it is established very firmly. Until you have that,
that's
you
where like you perform the action, but you see, you fight for your action, proving that it's right or wrong, or if it's wrong, you accept your action is wrong, and that's where we improve next time, right?
That's with Rakhi.
And I agree. The journey of faith is essential because without that, you won't even take an action.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not able to be
No,
clear.
no,
what
you're
it
right.
is, but yeah.
I completely agree with you. You're right. For some people who are on the right path, it makes sense from that side.
And the other
What I'm
thing is
trying to say.
age. Sometimes we say age, but I feel like age has nothing to do with our actions. We grow with age, but the faith starts from the beginning. That's where we lead to improve our confidence, our actions, our like whatever we do, that grows better and better. But sometimes we might all be of different ages, but it has nothing to do as long as we have that clarity of what I mean, the thought, word, and speech. So there's nothing related to age.
Um, According to what I was taught about Bhagavad Gita, that there are two ways to live in life. One is Ishwar Arpana Buddhi. Whatever you do, you offer to divine. Second is Prasada Buddhi. Whatever happens is Prasada. So I think they were completely devoted to Krishna and completely following him.
So, yeah. Now, I just to kind of connect the thing. I think the first requisite is the firm faith. If you have the firm faith, then the right thoughts will come. And then the consonance between thought, word, and action. So if you deviate from any of that, the thought says something, you say something, words, then you do something else, then that is, you're not going to feel, I mean, something will bother you. You're not going to be happy. So peaceful. So I think the first is the firm faith, and then the right thought will come, and then you follow the thought and word and action. I
Sure.
think if we do that, I think that action, the question was, which is right action? That
Yeah.
action will be right. That's what I think.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want, I
Yeah,
just want
please
to
go
add a
ahead.
point.
Yeah.
I agree with it, what you said, but to establish the firm faith, one should only look into a single point agenda, single point direction. That if you are trying to establish that firm faith, you should leave the fear of the result, losing or winning.
Correct.
And in starting
That's
point,
exactly her point,
yeah.
actually. That's what
Okay.
Rakhi was getting at. Yes.
So in the starting point itself, if you think of what's going to happen after the action, you
Correct.
can't establish 100% faith. Even 99.9% faith is not firm faith. You have to have 100% in what you're trying to do. And as Madam ji said, prasada buddhi should be established while the time of your establishing firm faith, because everything is prasadam and everything is Ishvara buddhi. That's what that helps in establishing the faith. That's what I believe. Fear of losing, and people generally have control of materialistic things, and we don't know how to control humanly emotions or emotional things. We don't have control. So also we should avoid controlling materialistic things and wanting to be in a very leadership position or show off position, or that kind of thing.
Okay, that
I-
I will
I'm-
come back to that.
yeah.
There is multiple things. So before we do that, right? I agree that we should have complete faith, 100% of faith, right? And we do have hindrances in our path, and most of the time we don't know what they are. This question is a very common question. What is my right action at this point? We don't know. We want to do the right thing because we are all focused on doing or achieving that. So if we go back into the examples that have been, and that's why we are doing Bhagavatam. This is full of examples of such folks who were confused like many of us. And then one person will stand out and say, oh, you don't have to follow that. So, when we talk about fear, for example, right? Most of us fear, but fear what? Fear the fact of time. We fear that, oh, this is the time that I have. And so we are always going to be fearing of when that time will come to an end. Is this the right time to go? I mean, Yudhishthira and Pandava did that. Most of us would not, because it's not the right time to go. I have not done X, Y, and Z for this country or this family or my kith and kin. They are good human beings maybe, but they would not be thinking in this manner. We would also think, oh my God, I can't be that selfish and leave everything. right? Because we took up this challenge. At the end of the day, why Parikshit was born? Because, it was my kith and kin. And because of me, he's there today. So we feel responsible in that way as well when it comes to our kith and kin. So again, when we go back through the history of, what are the other examples that we could look at who have shown us that you can do this and this is divine will, right? Divine will has happened. For example, I would say Markandeya. Yeah, so how did he feel? Or, I mean, his parents actually opted for a child with less age, ardhayush, whereas he will not live long, but he will be a intelligent or a very intellectual soul. When his father was given that option by Shiva, he chose someone who would be of less Ayush, but he would have more intellectual capacity. Whereas, because obviously by then I'm sure he was aware of Duryodhana, I don't know. But anyway, but my point is that once he did that, what did Markandeya do? In that time, his father was able to give him, they didn't live in the fear of losing the child. They lived in the thought of, oh, this child is intellectually capable, let's make him capable enough to do it, to the point where he acted so well that when the Saptarishis came, they actually blessed him with long life. And that contradicted with what he was blessed with, what Shiva had blessed him with. And with that, they went to Shiva and said, hey, they told Yama, you can't do that because he is, we have already blessed him with long life. You can't take his life away, right? And when he came, again, Markandeya's actions, he went and stuck to Shiva, held him. And eventually, Yama had to take Shiva with him when he came. So again, we have to, and the reason I bring this up is because we are all thinking about that time. When am I going to end this life? Is this the right time to leave? Oh, this person died too early, this person died too late, this person is too young, this person is too old. We always judge that. And I think that our fear of time is what makes us feel, are we doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right thing? Is this the right time? Am I in the right place? That's how I have. uh, I know I spoke a lot.
I don't know if I don't know if everyone thinks like
Yeah,
that. Let me put
exactly.
it that way.
I know.
I don't think like that because we see life and deaths every single day. As part of my profession, it has very early on I've realized it's such a temporary, not in your control thing. Just because of the
Right.
work I do,
Work.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Regardless of that, even if you follow God's faith,
Yeah.
that something is totally not in your control. So I don't even waste a second thinking about it.
No, but the planning that we do is thinking on that.
No,
But
it's living.
we
You
always
have to
plan.
do it. Because I'm alive, I will do those things. But doesn't mean I'm planning for my immortality or the next 10,
No, no, no.
20.
No, that's not what I'm saying at
No,
all. No,
that's
I
what
agree with
it's.
you. I agree.
It's
That's not
so
what
the
we.
thought is not because like Pandavas, I'm not doing it because to achieve something. It's because it's the right thing to do at the moment. Yeah, today I'm working. Yeah, I will work. If I want to save the money, I will save it. If not, if I want to enjoy my life today itself with all the money I made today, I will. It's different choices you make, right? Does it make sense? I mean, I don't think
I
we should
don't.
think in the term of time because time is not in our control at all, right? We know that for a fact. So, no,
Yeah,
Maybe
and
you're right.
I think
agree.
see what this is what I kind of agree with what Shobha
Shobha said.
mentioned. See, the thing is somehow we have, as a society, we have set certain norms.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Mhm.
just go with
That
that.
is correct.
We are going with that. So, for example, we at this age we go to school. At this age we go to college. At this age we go to do work, and at some age we retire. So this is the norm that we are following. So every day, I don't know if everybody is thinking about,
They're not.
oh, I'm going to pass. So what should I do before am I ready to die today? Or I don't think that thought comes to us every day. In fact, Swami says that is what we should be thinking. So we should not lose or waste even 1 minute in having the faith and doing the right thing
Taking it for
spiritually,
granted.
to
Yeah.
going the spiritual path, because we don't even consider that in our this one. Swami says that every time you hear of somebody passing, that's what should remind you, because you're also going to pass one day. So you cannot waste that time, or last minute you cannot say, oh, I need moksha. So that doesn't happen like that. So coming to that, I think it's a question of, I don't think we think in those lines as you had mentioned, but it is more like following the norm that everybody or the whole society has set. So in India, if you are at 58 or 60, you would say, okay, I have to retire. This is the age for retirement. Okay. In this country, at 60, you don't consider as a retirement age. You think that, oh, I got to work another 10 more, 15 more years before I.
Exactly my point.
So many things. So it is the society driven. That's what I think.
Planning doesn't mean you're attached to it. You know, plan, do everything, but result you leave it. Okay, whether it happens or not is irrelevant, isn't it?
No, for
Like,
me, it is even more basic than that, right? Mine is any small discussions, let's take, right? Okay, let me take that situation, though that is not on top of my mind. Like Apurva is there with her kid and she needs me, and here I'm also needed, and I want my Sai bhajans. That is why I came yesterday. I'm like, Apurva, I've been 2 weeks without Sai bhajans. I just can't. I need my energy there, right? So, what is right and wrong? Right? Yeah, I have to do service, Apurva's. But at the same time, like, she needs to learn, right? So, both are that. Swami, am I just leaving aside, shrugging my. So, that is all this great. That clarity of thought is not there, right? That this is the right thing to do. Like Dharmaraja, this is the right thing. I am going to leave it. That is not there. If somebody says, for example, they say, mom says, okay, today I'm like, mom, I will make pulao. The mom says, no, 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 today is Sambar Friday. This is the. Simple things I'm telling. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right. You want to make that? That's fine. So even that clarity for small things where there is no right or wrong, but the clarity of thought is still not there. And how do we get to that clarity of thought?
I don't see for that matters. That's what I was saying initially. I don't think it matters. So you just go with one thought. I don't think it matters either
one,
this
for
or that.
example, I had to attend the bhajans today. I'm like,
Samaji, I want to answer your question.
Go ahead.
So
Please.
this clarity of things, I mean, it's a very friendly suggestion to everyone, to myself also. Since we are a part of this organization, I mean, all of us, the priority should be this. If we assign this as a priority, Baba with a priority, your life, you will never go wrong. Take my words. I have gone through this phase myself where I come from for 20 years. You, like, over here, Baba is our spiritual leader. I had my own. If you keep that as your priority in life, things will finally fall in place. So that's why that focus on the priority. Everything else will fall around it in right place. Apurva will take care of the son. Venkaji will take care of himself. If you
No,
keep
but
Baba
Swami
as
says
the
service is the
no,
top. Right?
I'm not refusing for service. So duty, yeah. So just follow what Baba is telling. So keeping these things, I mean, I'm not guiding you. I mean, anything in that I'm telling you to do this or whatever.
No, that was
What
a
I'm
small
saying is-
example, but that is something
Yes,
that
yeah,
is
because
still,
we
I
have
don't have that
gone
clarity
through that
yet.
so many times.
You know?
I used to practice in Delhi. I used to sit in the satsang every morning. Just an example. You're getting late. My patient might be waiting. My patient might be waiting at the clinic. Sometimes the bhajans take longer. And every morning we used to go satsang. Guruji used to say, Manoj, nothing will happen to your patients. Take my words. I mean, this might sound like your superstition or whatever. Nothing actually went wrong, practice-wise, patient-wise, and money-wise. So that is faith. Start to develop that. Let's start to develop that kind of faith. That what focus on that. And what Baba is saying, what Guru is saying, start following it. other things will start. Patients waited. Whoever could not wait, maybe that patient was not for me. Maybe they deserved, and have seen many times after a day or so that patient somehow died. Oh, I felt so relieved. I did not see that patient. Otherwise, the blame would have come to me that I gave something wrong to him or something wrong to them. But I'm saying this example only.
Yeah.
So if we make that as this as a priority, other things can follow. What Baba is saying, uh, just try to
Yeah.
focus on.
I think it makes
No.
sense because, like the kid falling when they're learning to walk, right? You want to help. You think you're doing service by preventing an injury. That is a mother's thing. Is like you prevent, but if you don't let the right thing is to stay away. They'll fall 2 times and then get up and run. The right thing is to stay away only, right? But yeah, in those but I wanted to add, sometimes I take the path of the Hippocrates oath we have in medicine. The first thing in that is whether you help or not, don't do any harm. So you coming here is definitely not harming anyone. If anything, Baba may give her strength to be stronger, right? I would think like that. Yeah, if I'm there, I'll help more. But if I'm not there, she's going to get stronger and do more. But my mom wasn't there, wasn't able to come when I
Trust.
had my daughter. But I got stronger because of that. I was able to handle because there's no one there. I did it. So the mental strength will go up. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a daily example. These are daily examples because it's not about right. It's about where your duty is. So Swami always says, follow the duty. He's never said, leave the duty to come to the bhajan or satsang, right? He always says, finish your duty before you do these things. Of course, most of us finish our duties. Today is Saturday. We meet only Saturday. We have done away with our Thursday because we could not. So we have done away with Thursday. When I was growing up, we did Thursday. And after school, doesn't matter how much work you have, and it doesn't matter what you did, you go. And 12th grade, I mean, we were still going to Thursday satsang. Doesn't matter if you have a big test. So again, did that make me any stronger or weaker? I don't know. I may have lost a few points, but it doesn't matter. But I'm here. So nothing really, earth shattering has happened because we went there. But at that moment, though, I am not lying. I did feel it was earth shattering. I did feel that anger with, why am I being forced when I have, it's my A level exam tomorrow. And my dad said, no, what this is, and it's not like it was right next door. It is a 1 hour drive.
Yeah.
But we made that commitment. You will do it come rain or shine.
Yes.
And that's it happened. Did I get less? Probably. Maybe I would have gotten more. Who knows? But at least I got something. I didn't fail. So again, there is, but at that moment,
Yeah.
that's why I always say it's that moment. We don't know. To her, to Raki's point also, you don't know today what that is.
That's why we need
Did
to
it-
learn from these examples, what Bhavani ji is telling now. We have to learn from these examples for the younger generation and for ourselves
Yeah.
also. Nothing will go wrong. It might appear that, I'm losing 5 marks, 10 marks, with this, but in the end, it is good.
No.
His principle itself, service. He says service is the top. Do your duty. And so when he says do your duty, what is the duty?
Yeah.
This is a simple example.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Yudhishthira's duty was further this one. I was thinking that the 12-year-old child, that is his duty, and he can stay there. No. So body, he can just be an aesthetic sitting there and guiding. That's all, not getting emotionally attached or anything. But he left. How did he know that that is the right thing to do? I mean, he was Dharmaraja, you said, yes. But how do we get that clarity that this is absolutely the right thing to
See
do
that-
for every mundane thing in our life?
See, what Swami says is, in spite of that, there could be some. I mean, sometimes it can be very clear. Oh, this is right. This better choice. Sometimes it can be, you can weigh the pros and cons and say, oh, this is better for me. Okay, then there is no confusion. But if both are equally possible, if you either this path or this path, both are, you are not able to decide. In that case, what Swami says is, just go into meditation. And when there is a thoughtless state, at that time the guidance will come. That's what Swami says. Yeah.
I mean, just focus on God. Your thought it'll be clear. See, the same example, Yudhishthira's example, we cannot take these people's examples because look at Gautama. He left a child and a wife. Everyone brings that example more commonly than this. They are at least older grandparents. There's other people to guide the child, right? They know that. But Gautama's is a classic example. He left the wife, but he had a bigger divine purpose for that. So he thought that was a more important than this. So he did it, and we all benefited because of that. So those are divine examples. But in our day-to-day life, I agree. I think you just put your faith at Baba's feet, and whatever thought comes for you to do, I will take it as that's his thing.
Okay. I just wanted to say, duty is right, but there's the first duty is towards yourself, which is the big SEL.
Very good.
And before, there used to be 4 clear ashramas, and it ended with the Vanaprastha, and it ended with sannyasa. Those were done by everybody, and regardless. It's not like I will die with my boots on or whatever the Western thinking is. And Eastern, India too, you're useless if you're not contributing, and that means like, usually in a monetary way.
So I
Nicely said.
completely agree with you. I mean, I am a part-time devotee, and that's why I don't have that clarity of what it is. Like Victor Kanu was there when Swami said that you leave everything and come. He had never been to South Africa, but he said you leave everything and come. He said, "What will I do now?" He said, "Build a school. Where will I get the money?
Yeah.
You put all the."
Yeah.
He did everything. I will be a part-time devotee, I think, if I'm there.
It was not
Swami-
South Africa.
He was
He is
Japan,
from
right?
South Africa. No. Swami asked him to start a school in
Namibia?
Zambia.
Zambia. Yeah. So I'm thinking about that. And if Swami says you put everything, I'm like, okay, let me keep $100 just in case tomorrow I'm hungry and I need, I'll put the rest of the money in for, that is he did not do that. He put everything out for it. So that is the full faith which he had committed himself. That, so still part-time devotee and still lot of things to happen.
Does anywhere a factor of guilt comes when especially it's a family, when we have to perform duty? That's the duty. This is the duty.
Yeah, and there is an example. This was cited. Okay, in Haiti, the earthquake came like
Yes.
10 years or so back, and there is a nurse here. She has a husband, and she has a child, and she wants to go to Haiti and help the earthquake victims. Now, husband is there, child is there. They are dependent on her, meaning she at home. She definitely helps them. Now, what is the right action for her? Her heart says that she has to go to Haiti and help them. Which is right? So this is a typical example. Okay, very. It's same example. So in that, I mean, what do you think? I mean, that was a question that was asked. What do you think is the right action? What should she do? Should she follow the conscience and go to Haiti and help the victims? It's not long term, maybe a week or 10 days to help them right then, and then come back. Or should she no, if I go, my family will suffer. My child will suffer. Child needs my attention.
So a lot of us have sacrificed that kind of personal goals to meet with our family duties. Because we have signed up for family duty, we take a step back. There are many who do it even today, who are not working because they have children, or either ways, whatever. But so in my opinion, these kind of things, mostly we will stick to what is today's duty. For example, I don't know the age of the child, right?
Yeah,
If the
school
child
going. Let's
is
say it's school going.
Hanita is school going, she's 16. If at 16, if I have to go, she'll be okay. She can feed herself and she can do her work. If she was 4, she cannot feed herself and she needs me at that time. So again, that depends on a lot of things for us. But did that happen in this story? No. Yudhishthira did what he needed to, and gave him the kingdom and walked away. So again, like Shobha said, we cannot compare our, actions to that. But a lot of us go through that similar,
Also said, when it comes to that, what to decide, right? He always said, no, your service should start from home first. The home is the first service should start from home. Then once you fulfilled everything, then you go outside. So I think that's what I feel.
Yeah, so right. So that is one part. And then I'm looking, am I using home as a scapegoat? Always home, 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 and doing nothing. So that also is coming. And when I do that part, I'm like, Swami, am I doing the right thing? Can you guide me? I mean, he's not, if Swami was right here, I would ask, Swami, tell me, right? Even if he tells me I may be a part-time devotee like Kanu, I could not be like Kanu. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. A few years back, like 10 years back, the part of guilt we are talking about, that's what extension of this topic is. When we have to perform the right duties, leaving, as what you said, I never wanted to be a software engineer. In my life, I left my BTech in my 4th year. My BTech is very costly, which my father couldn't afford. I don't know where he have put that from. I left and went to Hyderabad to join in films. I left my BTech. I renounced that. I don't know. It's not a great thing. But then again, I don't know where the thought came for me that, okay, my father put a lot of money into my education. I have a sister. I have my grandparents, where for everything they'll say, ask Swami, we don't know the answer. If I go to my father, he'll say, do one thing. It's a funny example. I'm not taking too much time, but Daddy, tomorrow I'm going to meet this director. I don't know will he accept me as a intern or not. Uh, do one thing. Write a letter to Prashanti. But Daddy, I'm talking about films and you're asking me to write a letter to Prashanti. Would he accept that? I don't know. Ask him only. So later on, what I did is I left my film career, and for my family, I came back, and now I'm in the duty part. Now I have to go through every day. This is every day before sleeping or in the office calls or some of the other frustrated mood. ఎందుకు వచ్చాను రా బాబు అక్కడ ఉండిపోయినా బాగుంది ఇట్స్ వెన్ లైక్ that part will go through. But again, how to avoid that thoughts again, Swami, I mean, like any faith that we have to put on.
Very Swami. So I actually go and ask many times. I have and something will happen along those lines where things will fall in place. But until that happens, I have chewed on everyone's ear by then, that, oh, this is not happening and this is not, but eventually it does happen. Like I said, for example, in that same the Thursday incident story, my grades were not that high. I didn't become a valedictorian. Okay, it was really not, and I felt, oh, that is why. Okay, but because I didn't become a valedictorian, I went back to India. I did not come here because I didn't get scholarship, and because I went back to India, I met Amit. So it's a different. So today I can sit and tell you this because 25 years have passed since that happened. But the day that happened, I blamed everyone from Swami to my dad. It's all your fault that I had to go. You didn't have to do it Saturday. You could have done it Saturday, Sunday, but we are doing only Thursday. Why are we here? But at the end of the day, it worked out. But at 50, it's easy for me to sit and say this. Right? In the same way, how can we tell our children then? Right?
Tell them the story. So that's why. Tell
what
them
I
the
would
story.
do.
They will learn. From these, that's why these stories are. That's why all our stories, after 100 years, our stories will be published like this only. They used to.
That is
happy
true what
thinking.
Bhavani said. Why I said that age is not related. Like I have been always in trouble since childhood because of my open talk. What I would say, like right from the beginning, when I was 5, I will say at home. When I was 8, I'll say, "Induke maatladta, don't say like that, don't be." At that time, I don't have faith. Like I don't know what faith is, but I know what I'm saying. I won't like something if something happens this way. If my mom is there, or if my dad is there, or entire 30, 40 members will be there, I'll still say. Even at school also, I'll say. But eventually, That's what I believe, that, oh, I believe in myself. I'm just saying, if something is wrong, I learn out of it. If that's not wrong, that's how we spread the word. Probably that's what it continued even today. Even today, I get into trouble. But something that taught me is, as Shobha said, faith is there. You would realize with your age, but believing in your own self is also very important, which leads to that journey of firm faith.
Right. All right. So with that, let's move on to the next one, that is detachment and renunciation. And I think we had a healthy discussion on faith and divine will. So I have a little video for this. So let me see. Hopefully it'll work correctly. This is Arvind's.
Switching tracks a bit. Swami says discrimination and detachment are the first and the second steps that man has to take in order to reach the eternal Atmic truth. The question is, how do you stay detached from your loved one?
Detachment, no, we have a wrong idea of detachment. We think detachment means not caring about anybody. It's not about not caring. Swami is absolutely detached. But he would be so concerned, once Narayan Seva was going on, food was being served, and in those days, Narayan Seva, Swami would himself serve many of the people, and then he would tell others, now serve. So all those Narayanas would be looking at who will be the lucky one to get food from Swami. So when Swami was serving the ladies' side, he suddenly saw one mother with a newborn, maybe few months old baby. After serving the ladies' side, he suddenly saw one mother with a newborn, maybe few months old baby. And Swami said, hey, nobody got any milk to her. How will she eat rice, and how will the baby eat rice? 100 volunteers ran, because the moment Swami tells, everyone wants to do. Because now till then nobody. I mean, faith and surrender and confidence is when whether Swami is or not, I'll come and give, because I know that a baby can't drink. When you do it as a show, because Swami is nice, all of us did it. I'm not preaching here. I also did it. It feels extra Josh when Swami is physically watching to do it. But when we do like that, we won't be doing it perfectly, because I'm doing it only for a show. So immediately they ran and came. 4 or 5 glasses of milk came. Everybody wants to give. Why Swami is seeing, no? Amazing it is. And then the first person who reached, Swami said, hey, stop. What are you doing? Milk. It's hot milk. Swami, the baby's tongue will burn. Swami cooled it and then gave it. That is, at that time also, that is what Swami was thinking. Swami cared. Swami is the most detached, yet he cared. Look at all the great sages, saints, philosophers, who are not philosophers, sorry, men of God, women of God. They're detached but extremely compassionate. Buddha was detached. He left his family, everything. Yet so much compassion he exuded. Jesus was detached. So detached, he didn't care when things happened to him. When they battered his body, he didn't bother. And yet he was compassionate enough to say a prayer at that time that, Lord, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. Please forgive them. Because the sin they're committing, if they have to face the consequences of it, they won't be able to bear it. They'll be crucified upside down 100 times. Because commit a sin against man, you will suffer. Do it against God, you'll get 100 times. Doing good in God's name gives you 100 times the benefit. Doing bad in God's name gives 100 times the sin. That was the compassion. So we misunderstand this. I think detached means not talking at all, not caring about them. No. Possibly the closest analogy that comes to my mind is like acting in a drama. Just imagine you're acting in the drama. You have been given the role of the mother, you are the father, and there's the child. So when you see the child, you tell, hey Ram, how are you? You lift the child, hug the child, and kiss the child. You tell, Dad, I want to go somewhere. No, you can't go. You have to be with me. Love you so much. Director says, good cut, nice take. Nice take. Okay. The child goes home. I go, hey, what happened? You said that you can't stay with the day. No, no. You did everything. In fact, they go on their knees and tell, without you, there's no universe. The whole world I can see in your sparkling eyes. How many have professed their love, go on their knees, offer roses and tell that's it, you're my life, you're my world. You be with me, nothing else I need. You're not there, my whole life is empty. Cut. He goes her way, he goes his way. What happened? Hey, you said you can't live without me? No, nothing. Why I'm giving this example? Same way villains. Scream, abuse each other, shoot, kick each other, cut. Ah, okay, they sit together and have coffee. Real? You couldn't stand each other's presence when you're having coffee together. Ah, that's just for the drama. This gives two messages. One thing is, if I see, it doesn't mean that I have to, everyone is divine, doesn't mean that I have to call everybody and do Pada Puja to them. No. Because then the drama collapses, the movie collapses. I'm supposed to play my role. I'm playing my role as a speaker. You're playing your role as audience. You have to listen, I have to speak. But in my mind, I know that I'm no way superior to any of you. It's just that I've been given this role. That's why I'm doing it. Genuinely, when I'm there, I should remember this. No, nothing special. At the same time, you should not think it's a very blessed soul. It's come from so far. How lucky we are. Nothing. It's just that you were given the role in the script as audience. That's all it is. Same way. So, but you have to play that role sincerely. You understand? So you are expressing your adoration for me, but you're not actually adoring me. You understand? You're expressing adoration. I don't know if I'm making sense, but you're expressing adoration because that is a script. So when I tell my child, I can't stay without you, please. You know, Swami would say, without you, if you leave for vacation, what will I do, my children? We would break down. He's playing his role, but he's absolutely detached. He didn't shed a tear when his mother or father, in quotes, the body. Swami would always correct anybody who says Swami's mother. Swami would say, no, the mother of this body. Always in that consciousness. But he took on the role because why? In order for these children to develop devotion, they need to hear these words. So I'll make them. So I will tell that I will play that role. I will tell without you I can't live. He played so realistically that we get egoistic thinking we are the supreme. Students are supreme. Without us, Swami can't stay. Without him, we can't stay. Sai student, in that the important thing is Sai. Without Sai student, you're a student. So it is the Sai that gives meaning, right? That is how we are involved yet detached. I love my children because that's the role. Imagine Swami said, okay, so you're playing your role is that of a mother. Okay, you act it, you are the father, okay. So we be harmonious, but I'm not attached. Next script when it comes when I'm given, I can't tell, where's my husband? Your husband? Yeah, he went off. What is the new husband? No, I'm not detached, I'm not attached. In that time, that was a role given. So I have to play the role to perfection. I have to express love. I have to give support. I have to be unconditional, all of that. But I know that this is just the role that has been given. This is the theoretical understanding that I have. And therefore, I disagree that being detached means being indifferent, not caring, not concerned. No, extreme compassion. Because you want to do your role to perfection. Just imagine you're playing the role of a mother. If I'm playing the role on the stage, you'll never get upset. No problem, after all, it's a child. Because you know that you're going to win the Oscar by this acting, right? So that thing we have to remember that we are just actors in the drama, actors in the movie of life. The director has given us a script. We need to do it to the best of our ability. Nothing to hate anyone or feel love towards anyone. In the sense, get attached to anyone. Because it's just a role. I really hope I have answered, Swami. I tried my best.
Okay, Sairam. So,
Love towards anyone.
sorry. So with that, you know, okay, that what? Okay, what happened to my? So, how do we? So detachment, right? We are not talking attachment anymore. So detachment and renunciation. So how do we put it into practice? I agree. Again, coming back to the same example that you gave, in a lot of our sense, attachment is, we can't be detached completely. You are still thinking, is that my duty there? You know, you're not detached from that. And I think most of us cannot be because we are put into this role and we have to play this role to perfection and we don't know how to play it. That's how I understand this is. Whereas at, I guess it's because of the Kali influence, because of the age, the Kali age, we are not really focused on the unity of thought, word, and action like the previous yugas have been. So that's all.
This is an escape. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for that. But what I'm saying is, we 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 will learn. We will learn. Just don't be disheartened. We will learn that skill sooner or later to to uh, to reach to that level when we can be compassionate and detached. That combination we need to make. That's what the skill we need to learn. That's it. Once we need the, so that is just a skill. It is tough, but not impossible. Please. So it is just like getting into post graduation and graduation. Yeah, everyone did it finally. Did it? We have a super specialist sitting with us. So when we were in 10th grade, oh, super specialist, how we do that? But we did it. We all did it. So it is tough, but it's matter of getting the skill. So don't we do that every day? So let's take the example. We love our grandson. You know, we kiss him every day, 10 times. Oh, how beautiful! Oh, how cute! How beautiful! But do we keep doing it, or finally we go to sleep also? Do we keep doing it the whole night, or do we sleep also? Don't we take care of us? So the point I'm trying to make is that sooner or later we have to come to ourselves. That atmic, I'm digressing a little bit for the purpose of making it understand. This attachments, we have to learn that this is just a role, this is just a superficial thing by staying compassionate, but we detach every day from all our relations and go to sleep in the night? Or we keep loving my son or my wife? Don't we do that every
So
day?
I'm going to stop you there, right? So I'll make it clear that I'm detached. I'm not, but service is something that is Swami says you have to help out when needed, right? So that is the part I am thinking about. Whenever I'm doing anything, that is so I am not like, oh my God, I'm away from my daughter, I'm away from my grandson. That is not what is bothering or this one. What as a role of this human being, this is they are requesting help. Now I need to be there, or I should be here because i I came here because I needed my batteries to be charged, and I came here. So that was needed for me, but at the same time, am I using this as a means to kind of, when they say they need help, am I supposed to be there or here? So that is one part. Okay, so just let's leave that aside. Now, let's think about, I'm also thinking about, oh, once there was this panhandler standing in there, right, in the end of the street. So I said, oh, I can't give him money because he may misuse that money. Okay, all right. So then I'm thinking, oh, should I get some, peanut bread? And so I had bought from Walmart, and I was going, and that's when oh, does he have diabetes? If I give him, will he? No, that crossed my mind. I'm like, oh, diabetes, then will I aggravate that condition just because he's hungry? He will eat that. Okay, fruit, banana, no. So this is how, I am thinking through, and I am like, am I missing out on the opportunity to serve him because my mind is in 100 ways, and I'm thinking of, this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is, you know. So those are the things I don't have the clarity of the thought at that point in time.
So I have typical that same question, right? Okay, oh, banana, I don't know if he'll eat or not. They may not like. So I went to this panhandler who was actually standing with little this wife and little, at least I assume it wife, but little kid, and I said, I will buy you. Let's go to McDonald's. I'll buy you whatever you all need to eat, because he had held a board that says, please help me feed my family. Okay, this was right outside of Walmart. I said, let's go, I will. He's like, no, no, give me $20. We don't need to eat. We just ate right now. I was like, I said, okay, then I'll come back later. Because, I mean, the point is lost. I said, okay, I can buy now. Would you want to keep? Oh, we don't have place to keep. Right? But so what he wanted was not the help that I am thinking that he wanted. So my point is that I also went through that road of
Clarity of my mind that this is the right and this is what, because I feel like this is also right, this is also right, this is also, so am I doing, when I'm doing this right, am I missing out on that right, and this is, am I supposed to You know, that is how I am. I'm still don't have that clarity of thought.
We have gone through this many times when we used to do service back home. So at the end of the day, at some point we have to leave that confusion and guilt. We
Yeah.
have to leave it. When we were used to do, I mean, we used to get 1,000 blankets for the poor or rich, whoever. So my Guruji used to say, people used to stand in line, and some people will come back again in the line and come back third time in the line. He used to tell me, Manoj, don't look upwards, don't look up, just you just keep giving it. Okay, don't look that he's coming second time, third. Who are you to decide he is coming? Maybe he would need it, he needs 3 blankets, maybe he needs. So you just be the media between him and them, that's it, nothing more. Don't be that deciding factor here. Give it with your closed eyes. Your left hand should not come to know what right hand is giving. Just keep giving. Okay, he will decide for them what they want to do, what they want to do. Maybe he wants to sell it. Yeah, they will go and sell that blanket. I used to complain. So is it that your problem? He needs money also. Let him sell it and get. So whatever, you just become that one source of providing them. That's it. After that, don't be that deciding factor. Oh, what will he do? He'll do that money. If we get confused in all this, we'll never be able to, move on. So.
See, the thing is, I think if we are going to keep comparing about our past actions, there is no end to it. Once you have 2 or 3 options, you have picked one for whatever may be the reason. I think we have to live in the present and not worry about what we should have done. We cannot go back and change. You are here. You cannot be in Morgantown to help Apurva. That is very clear. So what I'm saying is, having taken a decision for whatever may be, once you have, you might have, it may be, as Raki said, might have been a wrong decision. Later on, you may realize that it was not the most appropriate decision. But at that time, you have taken the decision. So you have to live in the present. Just go with that and not compare with, oh, maybe I should not have done this. There is no end to it. That's what I.
Thank you so much, Sairam, because today now you cleared my. I have a guilt feeling as I explained today.
Yeah.
Now I don't know, answers are coming. Thank you so much. And
Sairam. So we'll can continue this discussion. Otherwise, I was actually next week I was going to move along to other topics. But what Soumya is saying is what I think is, there is so much, life is not black and white. But that's also because our definitions are not per the standards that have been laid out earlier, like the 4 phases of life, or where you belong and how it is defined. We have a lot of gray areas now everywhere. Before, women had very clearly defined rules and things to do that are not evident right now. So again, we have to evaluate ourselves. So that's where I think we have to leave this entire process, and we can put into practice what we think is best. I think Swami can guide us. Any other comments? We have about 4 minutes.
people, I mean, like, if after discussing, if you have time, there is one photo of Swami. So you can search it in Google. It will say red eye. I mean, Swami will be angry. Just a caption will be there at the bottom. Do what I say. That's it. You just see that photo. I think it will conclude the session.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I think today's topic was really very relevant. See, when we come to about the detachment, detachment, Swami says, it's very difficult. I mean, it is a challenge, but I think it is doable. We can really play the role of whatever. See, the thing is, we at any given point we have multiple roles, and sometimes these which role will be like conflicting. So for you have office work, you have housework. Which one you want to do? Which one do you want to? Both are equally important. You have to finish this, you have to finish that. So at that time, you have to make a decision. So once you take a decision, if you keep comparing it, oh, I should have done that. If you keep thinking about it, then you're going to be completely messed up. So I think that is, but coming back to this detachment, I don't know how attachment affects our, see, the attachment, why we want detachment is attachment, we will make you make wrong decisions or take wrong decisions. That is how I see. Why should we focus on detachment? How does detachment help? So in this case, let's say Dharmaraja heeds to the advice. I mean, it's not really Dharmaraja. Let's say a king in that stage, when Sage Kripacharya says, I don't see anything wrong in Parikshit's question. And then he decides, oh, okay, I want to change my decision. Now, how does that? Is that because of attachment, or is that, how would you consider that? Would that be a right thing? At later on, will the history think that he did the right thing, or will there be a story at all?
So my thinking about detachment is we don't have to work to be detached. Detachment will happen. You have to work on your faith, and if you work firmly on that, this will gradually happen as a process. Because if you're thinking of as achieving detachment, that is it doesn't make any sense. Actually, they were able to do it because it just naturally happens to them at that stage. Our goal has to be focusing on that journey with the discernment is more important. The viveka, first get the viveka. What is the viveka? Knowing what is real, what is unreal, what is real and what is unreal. Half of the battle is lost right there. We are so completely caught up in all these things. Once you clear your path step by step, that's why it is written like that. I always come back and say the same thing as if a repeating tape or something, but it even in Patanjali Yoga it says it has to be in that order. He was very precise like that. He didn't say you can do it in any order. Why? Because it makes sense. It automatically happens by that stage. That's what I would say.
So when you say order, you're talking about the yama niyama.
Self-control.
Yeah.
He starts there. Once you conquer these few things, the next stage will already happen. Once you conquer that, dharana will come. You don't have to work for it. It will happen. And the final stage is the detachment, right? The final thing is that will also happen. So what do we have to focus on and discuss about? The very first stages, which we are stuck with, I think.
Very nicely put. Thank you. And I think we are at time. So life application is Namasmarana. Let us commit to chanting the divine name or in any form is fine. So with that, yes, please go ahead.
No, just to add to that one, Namasmarana, the region as a commitment for Swami's 100th birthday, they want us to focus on the 108 names and not just repeating the names, go into the meaning of each of those names, try to understand the glory of each name, and then think about it. So they have taken the first 18 names, just go deep into that one. And then chanting 108 names we can always do, but go into that aspect.
That's very nice. Yes. So let's end the session with Om and Three Shantis. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you all for your participation. And we do have our service opportunity today. So either we eat and then start. I guess that's something that we need to figure.
Whatever you